Go and throttle up.
Yo, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Nerd Ledger. We're back. We're back again. Every Wednesday, live, 5:30 on twitch.tv/the Nerd Ledger. Or whatever. Listen however you want. Yeah, we're the nerds. I'm Cage. That's Chair. We're here to talk about nerd stuff. More specifically, today, we're going to talk about Ahsoka.
The only thing that matters.
Yeah, the new...
Kinda. Sorta. Well, oxygen's important too, I guess.
Well, it is if you want to live on Earth, but
yeah,
who wants to do that, really?
No.
But
not
yeah.
lightly, anyway.
I'm gonna just put out a tweet so people know that we're live and can come hang out with us.
Yep.
Except that probably won't happen, but I'll still put out the tweet. You know what I'm saying?
It's nice to pretend to care.
It is indeed. So anyway, what's been up, my dude? How have you been?
Good. Just chilling. About it, honestly. Like, birthday week was last week. I was chilling the whole week. No problems.
Yeah.
After that, I think I just spent most of the day on Saturday and Sunday just relaxing again, playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm almost to the end of that game for my first playthrough. And I'm just kind of trying to do sort of everything. So I'm not really role playing or like, really, I'm just playing the game. I'm just like consuming the game. I think I'm gonna do a playthrough as soon as I finish this my first campaign, though. I'm gonna do a evil playthrough. So yeah, it's a really good game. I'm glad I bought it. I'm glad to pay full $60 for it because I've already gotten way more than six. I usually how I break it down for video games is that for each dollar I pay, I should get at least 1 hour of enjoyment out of that game, so it pays for itself. And I've certainly gotten way more than $60 worth of 60 hours worth of enjoyment out of this game. So
wait, Baldur's Gate is $60?
Yeah, I believe so.
Jesus.
Full price game.
I guess that's not.
I mean, I've
bad.
gotten like 80 hours. Most people usually say their playthrough takes them 80 to 90 hours. That's a lot of entertainment for one video game, And then that's just one playthrough. Like, you can do multiple different playthroughs. You can be One thing I really like is that you can get companions in this game, right? But also at the very start of the game, you can select to play one of the companions as the main character rather than as a custom main character. And apparently everything's different. So I really want to check that out too because there's some companions that are really cool.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, the $60 is probably worth it just to customize a penis, right?
Well, you can't customize the penises, but you can select a certain type of penis you want to put on there. So,
that sounds
there's
customizable to me.
There's a penis A and there's a penis B. I don't know why it's there, but it's there.
Yeah, but it also changes based on what creature you pick.
Well, what race? Yeah, all the humanoid male races look pretty much the same. The only one that looks really different, is the Dragonborn one, because it has like armor on it. So that's pretty funny, because they're lizards. But all of them, the rest of them look pretty much the same, except for the half-orc who's loaded, who's packing. But you can make naked girls too, so it's not just like the guys that get to have the full experience. That's pretty fun. And I've already unlocked some of the romance scenes in this game, and they coded in some pretty intense romance. Like they're doing like 69 and they're sitting each other, so it's pretty awesome.
Jesus.
Not gonna lie, it's pretty fun. And I'm just playing a gnome wizard, so it's super funny when you're playing like the tall characters. They just made a patch actually that made so that the tall characters that are romanceable, like tiefling warlock, the tiefling like barbarian, she couldn't kiss your character because she had to kneel down. Now there's a cutscene where she kneels down and gives your character a little peck on the cheek. Oh, yeah.
All right. Okay then. Well, this weekend we're going to SAC Anime.
Yes, sir.
You've never been.
No, I've actually never really been to an anime convention before. I'm excited and nervous. Excited because
any conventions?
I went to an esports thing a couple times. Does that count? There's just a lot of people walking around, and there's artists and there's booths and stuff, and you try not to spend money, and then there's like one main event everybody goes to, and then everybody like breaks off and goes do their own thing after that.
Yeah,
Actually, there's
it's pretty much like that, except there's not one main event. There's a bunch of different small events, like panels or like cosplay costume contests or like different things that you can engage in. Like a lot of them even have like speed dating or like little tournaments and stuff. Like they pack them full of things that you can do, but not necessarily that you do. Most of the time, people just like walk the hall and yeah, try not to spend money.
Yep.
So, but I do have a like a guide kind of for people who want to go to conventions but don't have a lot of money to spend but want to
Mm.
spend some money.
Yep.
Like I always tell people to buy three things. One, a piece of art to support like an artist, because most of these guys are local artists or whatever. Like that's how they make all their money. So usually you can get like a print for like $10 or whatever, like really cheap. It supports them, and you have something cool you can just hang up in your house.
Yep.
Um, Something collectible, like something that like you know, just something that like you feel is collectible, and it could even be that piece of art. So you save money there, or like like anything that you view as collectible is good to buy, and you can get some of those things pretty well priced,
Mm.
and something that you'll use, something practical, something like a lanyard, or just something you can walk away with from the event and like get use out of and feel like it was worth the $10-20 you spent on it. So that's just a little
Yep.
guide for going to a convention on a budget if you're gonna spend money. So
Yeah. And I already had an artist make a piece of art that I'm gonna have signed, so I'm probably not gonna have a piece of art, pick up a piece of art, but I am gonna think probably buy something really stupid.
yeah,
I'll figure it out when I get there.
yeah, absolutely. It's the conventions are cool, they're fun. It just depends what you're going for. Like some people get a lot more out of it than other people. The anime conventions are never really my style. I've gone to a bunch of the SAC animes, but um, even though it is anime, like they have stuff for normies too. But
Yeah. Well, I really like anime.
yeah, I'm not huge into
Uh,
anime, but like the last one, they had a bunch of the people from Avatar: The Last Airbender there, so that was really cool. So I went to that panel. Like, there's little things like that to interest me, but I always prefer like the more like mainstream kind of conventions that are like Fandemic, or like they used to have like Wizard World and stuff around here, like that got eaten up by other stuff, and they don't come around anymore. They changed it a couple times. I don't know what it is now, but they'd get like all the big people from like the nerd TV shows, like from The Flash or from Arrow, or even people
mm,
like from old TV shows like Buffy or Charmed and stuff like that. Like they get all those people to come out and do panels and signings and meet and greets. And we've had Stanley here and William Shatner and all those people, and like even Chris Hemsworth came to one of the early Wizard Worlds
mm.
in like 2014. So it just depends, like where which ones you go to, and all that stuff. But those don't come
Yes,
around
and
here as much.
SAC anime seems like a pretty big staple, so
It is, yeah, and they get all the like a lot of voice actors, like a lot of very very popular, famous voice actors, people that everybody is familiar with, especially like the main guy that you're going to see, Tom Kenny, is he's SpongeBob. Everybody knows who the fuck he is, right? Everybody knows
yeah.
SpongeBob's voice actor, and there's a bunch of other ones as well. So it's always cool. But again, it just depends what you're going for, and you'll find comic book things at these conventions, even though it's SAC anime. Like you'll find a bunch of anime stuff, but you also find your comic books and other things. So,
Yeah.
it's cool. But anyway, Ahsoka,
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka,
Ahsoka.
yeah.
Ahsoka. Yeah.
So Ahsoka came out last week. The first two episodes premiered. Episode 3 came out last night. Chair hasn't watched yet, so we won't talk about it.
Nope.
But we'll talk about the first two episodes, and I'll tell you all my opinions. But I'll let you start.
Um, hmm. Where to begin? I think just overall, pretty on the really. It's definitely towards the really good. It's not like blowing my mind. But maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little bit more callous now that we've had a couple of pieces of Star Wars content. But it does very much remind me something of quality to The Mandalorian season 1 or 2 and or season 1. Um, so far I like everything I see. I find Rosario Dawson's her depiction of Ahsoka to be fine. Probably a little bit more calm than I remember from the shows, but it's been like 30 years or something like that.
She's
So
grown up, right? Like,
yeah, she's grown up completely. She's not Snips
but a
anymore.
lot of
She's
the
not all snippy.
mannerisms are similar.
Yeah, like the head tilt happens a lot.
Yeah.
So and then I like Sabine. I like all the characters. I like the lady who's playing Hera. I don't know her. The Leku and the headpieces look kind of cheap, which is weird because I don't know, but maybe I'm just being a little nitpicky. But like like the Leku and like the the appendages that come off their head just look a little bit extra paper mache to me. With Hera's whole headgear get up. So I don't
Well,
know.
it's
Maybe it's
not
just
it's
because.
not just Hera either. I mean, Ahsoka's as well, right? Like
Yeah,
the it's I don't know. It's always confusing to me because it's like I get they're on like a tighter budget and things like that, but like, bro, you did Shock T. How can you not do
yeah,
Ahsoka?
exactly. That's the one. Well, and Shakti didn't move around a lot. That's another thing I think we don't like
uh,
talk about
well,
is that
yeah, but
Shakti wasn't doing all these crazy lightsaber fight scenes.
Shock T did some in Attack of the Clones, right? I mean, really, we just saw her use her lights to activate it, but she moved a little bit, and then in the deleted scenes from Revenge of the Sith, she gets murdered, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah, I remember seeing that on my DVD. It was like, damn, that's brutal.
yeah. Bro, it's crazy. Like all the deleted scenes are from like that first opening act.
Yeah.
Like the majority of them. There's like 4 or 5 of them that like are just them trying to get to the Chancellor.
Yeah.
But
They were
yeah,
on that ship. They were on that ship for a long time, I guess.
yeah, longer than we wanted to be there, I guess, because they cut it all out. So, uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. Like the headpieces do seem much cheaper than they should, especially
Hmm.
when I feel like because of the like helmet kind of that she wears, like like the I don't know, like the cap that she wears, like
Yeah.
it's like easier for them to like be lazy, I guess, right? Whereas like when you have like just traditional Twi'leks and stuff like that don't have that head cap, like the makeup artists have to be really good. They have to blend it. They have to make it look real. And so with the headpiece, like you don't have to do as much. So
Yeah.
I feel like they just got lazy and they're like, well, this will work for our purpose.
Yeah.
And the same with Ahsoka, right? Because she kind of has like a headpiece thing as well.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. I like Sabine. Found her character to be compelling, interesting, fine. Like again, there's been a little bit of time between everything going on in these shows, so there's a little bit of distance. I don't know why everyone's complaining and making the comparison that you need to watch. Like yeah, like there's a lot of new characters that you don't know about. But I remember also when I first watched A New Hope, I had no idea what the fuck was going on. All I know is that I was here for it and it was hype. You know, you don't know anything about the Galactic Empire or the Emperor or who Darth Vader is or who Leia Organa like is. You just care about these characters because it's awesome. So
Yeah,
I don't really
it's
buy into that argument too much.
it's one of those things where like um like Star Wars is always been like this, but a lot of fantasy will make allusions to other things that like makes it seem like the world is much deeper and more historic and whatever, and like that was a concept that was always like very good. But now it's almost a bad concept because people feel like everything like is franchised and there's so much and whatever, like they feel like all the material for everything exists. And so
Hmm.
like when you're watching it with someone who's never seen whatever you're watching before, they're like, "Oh, who is that? What does that mean?" I don't fucking know. I'm watching it for the first time just like you. Like, yes, I know Sabine, I know Ahsoka, Balin and Shin. I don't know who they are. Like I'm just watching it the same as you. Like
Yeah,
it doesn't mean anything. Like it's just like they're part of this world and we'll learn as we watch. Like if the show does its job as a show, we'll understand everything in time.
yeah,
So
exactly. It takes a lot of time, like, to get going. And again, this really does feel like it should be something like a movie. Like I feel like since people have time to sit and stew on something that isn't the complete story, they just like, start to bash on it. Like I feel like this is the natural inclination now. Like it's even happening with Baldur's Gate 3. Like the developer said, "Hey, there's some things we're gonna patch because we don't want it to like work out this way," and then people do nothing but complain. So that's the Star Wars fans in general and
well,
everything like
I
that.
mean, Star Wars fans are like that with anything. Even if the whole season came out at once, you'd have Star Wars fans complaining, right? Like even before it
Yeah,
came out, I saw all, like hate threads about how Sabine is like a Mary Sue and she's perfect, and now she's a Jedi too, and it's gonna ruin everything because she's not a Jedi, and they never made allusions to her being a Jedi, and this is all bullshit. And like it's like, bro, like let them tell their story and then make a
yeah,
judgment after that. Like I mean, yeah, clearly Sabine isn't a Jedi, and you're right because she almost fucking died. like
yeah.
like she's
She
she's
lost a
not good
lightsaber
at being
battle.
a Jedi.
Yeah,
She's
she didn't
bad
use the
at it.
Force or anything. Yep.
Like, yeah, she can wield a lightsaber, but she could wield the dark saber. Like, that just shows that she has some force sensitivity, which we already knew about previously, and it's just the continuation of the story after Rebels ends, right? Where, we kick off whatever. Rebels ends like in the future, right? Like a couple years in the future, like after.
I can't honestly. I cannot remember.
Right. Well, anyway, time has passed, obviously, and we're like 5 years ish. We're almost in the same timeline as the Mandalorian, like 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Now, in this new story, right? You have your new Republic and everything else, and clearly, after the events of Rebels, Ahsoka tried to train Sabine, and they had a falling out, and she never finished her training for sure, and maybe didn't even really get too much started in it.
Yeah.
We don't know any of that yet. We do learn more in episode 3, but we won't talk about that because you haven't seen it. But yeah, she's clearly not a Mary Sue. She has her
Has
struggles,
issues. Yep.
and yeah, she's definitely not a Jedi. And even in episode 2, I think Huang, the droid, Ahsoka's robot, just like it's talking shit to her about how like she's not like fit to be a Jedi,
Yep.
And so, yeah, I don't get the complaints. One of the things I do think, like, and I came to this conclusion after watching the first 2 episodes, is like people who love modern Star Wars in the way that like they love Clone Wars and they love Rebels, not necessarily the sequels, but they love Rebels and Clone Wars and the stuff that Dave Filoni has done to help develop Star Wars. They'll love this stuff. Like they'll absolutely eat it up, because this is really what Ahsoka has been so far, is Dave Filoni just sitting in a sandbox playing with his toys. Like,
Yeah, pretty much.
He spends so much time. So he's very careful to include all these little Easter eggs, like Ezra's helmet collection and like different things. Like, bro, we almost got more time spent in Sabine's apartment than anything else. Like,
yeah.
And it's all because Dave Filoni is just like, look at all the stuff I've made, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
He loves to spend time with his things, and that's not a problem. And people who love Rebels, again, like will absolutely love Ahsoka. But for those other Star Wars fans, again, that like I mentioned this a little bit last week, like every little thing feels like it's getting further away from the originals and George Lucas's original vision, which was one movie. Let's be honest, like he didn't have everything planned out from the start, like people seem to think he did. Like anything that deviates a little bit from that, where you have these modern fans who know everything, like they know the names of the ships, they know the components that make them up, they know like different the origins of hyperspace and all this stuff, all that stuff that the original fans don't know because it's not important and they don't know the original lore and all this stuff. They're gonna hate it like immediately. They're just gonna hate it because it's so far removed from like what they think Star Wars is, and Star Wars hasn't been what they think it is for 40 years. Let's be honest. Like I get it, right? Like obviously it's not been 40 years, but like Star Wars hasn't been what they think it is since Empire Strikes Back, and so now you get you have modern fans, which are people who grew up either with like in the 90s or early 2000s, whatever. And they grew up with Clone Wars. They grew up with Rebels. They grew up with, the prequels and all this stuff and fell in love with Star Wars. They're going to love this. Like, because it feels Star Wars. It looks Star Wars. It's even though it's not necessarily the Ahsoka from Rebels, it still is because she's grown up. She's evolved. She's not remained the same.
She's taking apprentices now. Like, that's the thing. Like, that's how much of a change it is. She's become the master.
Yeah.
She's the old Jedi. She's the old Jedi and master now. And we grew up with again, Snips. Like, that was her name, Snips. That's
right.
like, the name. And
she's not very snippy anymore.
Nope. She's very wise, ancient, powerful Jedi.
Yeah, she's master. Also not 13 or whatever anymore. So
yeah,
it happened. But there's a lot. There's a lot there. Like, the world feels lived in, which it should. It feels like it's changed, which it should. Like Star Wars should feel familiar, but also feel exciting and new. And that's a hard balance to reach. and I feel like Ahsoka's done a decent job of it. I don't feel like the first two episodes, like you said, like they're not like incredible, they're not groundbreaking, they're not doing anything new and exciting in the way that you're like, holy shit, what the fudge, man. Like,
Yep.
but they're good for what they are. They're doing they're serving their purpose, and hopefully that leads to those groundbreaking things towards the end, right?
Yeah.
The other criticisms, I haven't seen this as a criticism, but it could easily be levied as one, is that essentially Ahsoka is the sequel trilogy. Uh, you know, where our old friends are missing, we have to have a map to go find them. Kind of like it's the same thing as Luke, right? Like Luke's missing, we need to find this map to go find him, but the enemy's also looking for it, and all this stuff. Like, yes, you can levy these same. Oh, it's the same thing. It's not the same thing, but it can, like this. People did that with the Force Awakens. Like, it's just a New Hope. It's not a New Hope, but it feels like it, right? And so people, it's just easy to mistake those things and just like say, oh well, this is similar, this is similar, this is similar, instead of looking at it with context and saying, yeah, it's similar, but it leads in a completely different direction and does something completely new. But that's not for those people. So
Yeah. And everything with Sabine honestly was great. Like I can't see any issues with the character aside from what happens. Spoiler, by the way, she gets cut by a lightsaber. Well, she didn't get cut, she gets pierced, and she like lives.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and
so like,
yeah,
that's been something that's been going on with lightsabers for a while now. Like back in the day, like if you were hit like even like once by a lightsaber across the chest, it was like instant death. And now it's like if you're pierced, cut, beat up by a lightsaber, plot armor protects you.
yeah. I mean, we've seen it, especially in the newer Star Wars shows, right? With Reva and Obi-Wan. I think even the Inquisitor, right? She killed the Inquisitor, but he didn't die.
Yeah.
And then she got stabbed by Darth Vader, didn't die. There's other characters we've seen it happen with. But Qui-Gon, of course, he perished, and there's some like complaints about this stuff, like people saying it doesn't make sense, it's not logical. Like, and even like I texted it to Chair earlier. I was like, like if Sabine is clearly not necessarily gonna die from this wound, why is she like? Why is Shin, the Inquisitor Sith lady? Why is she so careful removing the lightsaber? Why is she not trying to kill her actively? Right?
Yeah. And my
And,
point, and then I shot back with the only answer that can foil that. It's because she's important to the plot, buddy.
right, which isn't a good answer, but it is the true answer. But
Yeah.
it's like, for me, the way it makes sense in my head is like, Phantom Menace took place so long ago. Maybe they didn't have the technology right to heal Qui-Gon back then, but they have it now, and so like they developed it over time. So now like people just don't die from stab wounds, and there's plenty of things that you can argue in your head to make it make sense. Like the Sith came back, so like they started developing this technology because lightsaber wounds were becoming more common, and this and that, and blah blah blah, and eventually they developed the technology so that you don't just die from stab wounds, and they can heal your organs and your skin and whatever, and restitch it or use nanobots or whatever back to tanks, just heal everything. You can make it make sense, but I mean, the other thing people argue is Sabine got help right away, whereas Qui-Gon, like Obi-Wan had to murder Darth Maul first, and then he didn't even really do that because Darth Maul comes back. But, like the time has passed, and, he gave up and died. Who knows? Come up with your own logic for it, because there's not much logic built within Star Wars for it, so. Yeah.
Yeah, well, talk about plot armor. Just remember that Darth Maul got cut in half and he just fucking comes back.
Yeah, exactly. But it's different, right? Because his hatred kept him alive.
Yeah, I guess.
yeah, that makes sense to some people. So hey.
Yeah. Let's see who else is in this. Hera, but she was there occasionally, just offering advice. I don't think she's got really had her time to shine yet. But the actor who's playing her is great. So, all the CGI looks kind of okay. That explosion at the temple looked really cheesy. Those droids look cool though. Those like assassin droids.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
The new X-wings look cool. Like the Y-wings or whatever they are. I don't know what they're called. Like those Mark II X-wings. Are pretty dope looking.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and like that scene. I'm just trying to like come up with things off the top of my head of what I can say, but also far like I don't know. I feel like we'll get the best review. You and I will probably do our best review when the entire series is complete. Because
Right.
again, like just from the music alone, it feels just like such a movie, you know? Like I feel like I should have popcorn every time I sit down to watch it. And considering both episodes were like 40 minutes long, I guess I pretty much was watching it for an hour.
Yeah, episode 3 is much shorter. It's only like a half hour long. But
Yeah.
I feel like it accomplishes the most in that amount of like. I feel like episode 3 does a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, episode 2 is more like, after episode 1 is like we establish, here's our inquisitors or whatever and all this stuff, and then all these things happen, and so we get reintroduced to Sabine, and Ahsoka's like going to find the map or whatever. Lots of cool things are happening, and then eventually it leads up to Sabine getting stabbed,
Mm,
and Ahsoka coming back, and then episode 2 is more like. Hey, these droids who came and broke into Sabine's house to steal the map, right? Like, like something about Corellia and like the shipyard. So they go to Corellia, and you kind of find out like a lot of people working there still like are loyal to the Empire, which is
mm.
bound to happen. And the shit. Sorry, my brain broke.
No
Got bricked.
worries, happens all the time.
The climax of that episode is Ahsoka fighting this other Inquisitor kind of guy called Marok, and there's a
Hmm.
lot of speculation about who Marok or Marok is online, and like anytime you have someone masked, people do this, and I think it's so like irrelevant who's under the mask a lot of times,
Yeah,
but obviously
I was scrolling on Angry Joe and it said, I don't think Marok is Ezra Miller, so I assume that's what you're talking
not
about,
Ezra
Ezra
Miller.
Miller.
No, no, nobody's Ezra Miller. We hope nobody's Ezra
Ezra,
Miller. Ezra
yeah,
Bridger.
no, Ezra Bridger. Here we go. So yeah, we're hoping. I don't know. That'd be a cool little fun little twist, I guess. Like I can't remember. I barely remember. All I remember is just some of those giant space whales knocked them out of hyperspace, and like they both were lost in the fucking ether. That's all I remember of like the rebels, I
Right.
think.
Ezra is with Thrawn wherever they are, or like
Yeah.
around him somewhere, right? Like, um, but I saw that too. I saw people speculating it's Ezra. I don't think it's Ezra. Some people are speculating that it's Starkiller,
Hmm.
uh, Darth Vader's original apprentice from the video games The Force Unleashed.
Hmm.
Especially because his name is Galen Merrick and this guy's name is Marok. And so there's a connection there, I guess. I mean, it's spelled different, but I mean, there's also like tie-ins as like not tie-ins, but like in the world of Star Wars right now, like Lucasfilm, like the current Star Wars has made its first uh illusion. Like it's the first time it's ever canonized the Old Republic in one of its pieces of media. It wasn't in Ahsoka, but it was mentioned somewhere else. And so like in a time where you're doing that, like maybe they're gonna try to bring the Force Unleashed back into the fold and make Galen Merrick a guy, and hey, this was Darth Vader's original apprentice fighting his first apprentice in Ahsoka. Like that's possible.
Hmm.
I like it much better as a theory than people thinking it's Ezra. I don't think that would make any sense whatsoever.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, who knows who it could be? It could just like if we know Dave Filoni, he's gonna try to make it someone significant, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
That whole scene was badass too. Like when she stepped out of the way of the lightsaber returning.
Yeah,
The whole fight sequence is really well done. Like all of it, all lightsaber fights so far are really cool, which is good because I know Dave Filoni knows what we all really want at the end of the day. Which is again why I don't understand why they refuse to make a Knights of the Republic movie where they can just have Jedi fights all the time. Like,
yeah, and it's something
like,
people have been demanding like since Disney bought Star Wars. Like
yeah,
so.
just have a giant Jedi versus Sith war, bro. It's super badass. You have the budget for it.
And it's
Just
not like
do
people
it.
aren't familiar with the IP. Like it was an
Yeah.
incredibly successful video game franchise. Like
Yeah, and like the reason I honestly feel like one of the reason Baldur's Gate is so successful is because it channels a lot of the energy from Knights of the Republic and Dragon Age and those other old BioWare RPGs, like just the top, like and the only difference is turn-based, but in basically the first Knights of the Republic was basically turn-based, like but everybody took their own turn like actively, so you would swing, then they would swing at you, but it would be going in real time.
yeah,
But you have a bunch of different characters to manage and all that kind of stuff. And it was just really, really good game, especially Knights of the Republic 2. Man, Knights of the Republic 2 is something special. Really, really special. Really special video game that everyone should play if you haven't gotten the chance to.
Yeah. Um, Obviously, after the first two episodes came out, everybody, well, I don't know about everybody, but a lot of people were wondering, yo, where's Hera's child? uh,
Oh,
Jason, the child of Hera and Kanan, who you see at the end of Rebels. Which my complaint isn't that we didn't see him. My complaint is that when we saw him in Rebels, bro, why is he just a human with green hair? What the fuck? Like his
yeah.
mom is a Twi'lek. Where's his fuck? Like, bro, we've seen
Maybe
Twi'lek
that's
offspring
where the
before.
Lecco is. Yeah, that's where the Lecco are. They're in the
Bro,
hair or
we
something.
like okay. So again, this is something that maybe you have to use headcanon for, right? Because we all know about the clone who defected, right? From I don't I think it's in Rebels, not Rebels. In Clone Wars we saw him, right? The clone that defected, that married a Twi'lek, and the kids are both Twi'leks,
Hmm.
right? Like we I mean, if you've seen Clone Wars, you know what I'm talking about, right? And
Mm.
and like I guess the headcanon is like maybe clones have such like deteriorated DNA because like it's so used that like the Twi'lek's DNA would overpower it, whereas like Kanan's a Jedi, so like his DNA will be more powerful than Hera's. I don't know. It's just weird that is a normal human kid with green hair.
Mm.
But yeah. Anyway, he shows up in episode 3, so you don't worry about it, guys. You'll see him in episode 3.
Oh, the kid?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought. Oh, yeah, because you were just saying you didn't see him. So I guess never mind. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, he shows up in episode 3, like very briefly. But yeah, and he's also just a human child with green hair in this. But I did see like an article like about him, and it made me laugh. Because it's just I don't know, it's just so ridiculous. It says a fan favorite Star Wars Rebel character just made their debut on Ahsoka. Motherfucker was
Fan
in
favorite.
3 seconds of Rebels at the very end. 3 fucking
Yeah.
seconds. A
If there was
fan
a fan,
favorite.
if there was a fan favorite, it really would be Ezra. Like honestly, that's one person. Like everyone thought Ezra was going to be the one that went and saved the child in the Mandalorian season 2. That ended up being Luke Skywalker, which really pissed me off. But
Yeah, you knew when you saw the X-wing it was gonna be Luke. Ain't no way that was gonna be Ezra.
yeah, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Let's see what else. I saw a lot of people complaining that there are too many women in the show, which is like whatever.
Bro,
So
who
that's
notices
fun.
that shit though? Like who is
Fucking
actively
people who
like,
hate women. People who
bro?
hate women.
I'm watching the show and like
Yeah.
trying to see what the plot is, understand what's going on, enjoy it, have a good time. These motherfuckers are watching it, counting the number of gendered characters. Like what the fuck,
Yeah, it's supposed to be a really horrible way to live, to just like obsess over that stuff 24/7.
bro? The
Like on
only
the
thing
left
that irritates me is that we don't have Lothcat merchandise yet. Like get that shit out.
yeah, yeah, robot Lothcat.
Yeah,
Lothcat was really good.
the
Really good,
practical
by the
effects
way.
look really good.
I, I saw the puppeteer a few times, like, and they were really, really, but sometimes I see it a lot if I focus. But now I can see it like only a few times, which means they were trying really hard. So that was really
Yeah.
cool.
Well, because we
Um,
saw the Lothcat in the Mandalorian, the episode where Ahsoka appeared, there was a Lothcat like in the village towards like the end of the episode, running around,
yeah,
and that was all CGI, right? So it was really good to see like a practical affected Lothcat.
yeah, yep.
Now, I doubt we'll see practical effects if we get Loth Wolves,
Mm,
and I doubt we'll get Loth Wolves, but
yeah, we'll just wait and see.
yeah.
Wait and see. Keep saying that a lot because like we're probably gonna be saying that. So how many episodes are we expecting again? Six,
Bro, I
7,
think
8?
there's like 10 or 12, or
Ooh,
maybe 8. It might be 8.
nice.
Yeah. Let me look. I think
Yeah,
it's probably 8. Oh, need that. Sorry. Ahsoka episode count. Ahsoka will have 8 episodes.
Chopper was funny.
Yeah, Chopper's great.
Having saying if we shoot them down, they'll fall into the city, and Chopper's like, "That's a bad thing. Who cares?"
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thought that was pretty
Yeah.
funny. It's funny that you can understand him now. I didn't know you're supposed to understand him in Rebels. I can never understand anything that he was saying, but I guess you're supposed to.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like he says "fuck you" a lot.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or
Maybe he does, and they just hide it. That's how Dave Filoni hides it. No, he's just saying rah, 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 rah.
yeah,
Like,
he's just saying "Woo, woo."
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, totally.
good
Yeah.
old Chop. Can't wait for him to have like his moment where he kills everything in a room or something. That's gonna be pretty funny.
Oh yeah,
Or
his R2D2 Revenge of the Sith
yeah,
moment where he just goes
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. Or he just like commits a horrible war crime or something like that, where he just kills a bunch of like Imperial troopers or something, and like he just flies away like as he does,
Yeah.
as Chop. So that'd be pretty funny. Um. Just looking forward to more Jedi fight stuff, to be honest. That's the only thing I'm looking forward to and having the story completed so we can talk about it in a more wholesome way. Because, the only plot point that I really hate, the only thing I really hated so far is like nobody's asked the question, like, yo, why is a map to Thrawn in some stupid fucking ancient Dathomir temple?
Oh
Like,
yeah, that's another element is that Morgan Elsbeth is like a night sister or something, and
mm.
yeah.
Yeah, why would she be hiding that in like did she put that map in there for safekeeping in some temple that she thought nobody would be able to find? Is that what the
But I
plot
thought
point
she was
was?
also looking for it.
Yeah, but why would it be in a Dathomir temple, and why would she need to look for it if it was in a Dathomir witch temple? Like that's deeper and deeper, man. That's like a really stupid plot
I
point. I
need to
really feel like
rewatch
they
those
could.
episodes and
I
see if
really
there's
was
something there.
thinking they should have put her map, put the map like on like a star, like a destroyed Imperial Star Destroyer or something like that would have been cooler.
Bro,
But
they should have just never done a map thing. Like the Thrawn is like well known for being like this ultra intelligent, like mega mind mother sucker.
yeah,
Like they should have just done some kind of treasure hunt thing. Like
yeah,
where Thrawn is like sending out signals through the universe and like leaving clues and shit, like to
yeah.
help people find him. Like that would have been way more interesting than
Like,
like,
that map
oh,
really reminded
here's
me
a
of Treasure
map.
Planet. Did I send you that meme of the map reminding you
Oh
of
yeah,
me of
yeah,
Treasure
yeah, yeah,
Planet?
yeah,
Yeah, because it straight up does. Like it really does.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I just like yo like the map thing like when the map thing happened I was like, oh, here we go again, another fucking map
For
that
map,
like
yeah.
somehow can conveniently leads to the one person everybody wants to find. Like who is making these maps? Why do they exist and how do they know where people are?
Star maps, bro, because you can't just download something. It's
Right,
not like
but
anyone can look up your frickin' Apple Map search
bro,
history.
they're sitting there like sending their location and then just like saving the map.
Yeah,
Like
bro.
like Morgan Elsbeth texted Thrawn, she's like, "Hey, ping me your location," and he sends it, and then she just downloaded it and put it away somewhere. Like he could have moved since then. We don't know. Like
Yeah, and
how do
again,
they
like
know that's where he is?
why is the map in this temple? That's what I want to know. Why is it
Or
there?
right, maybe we missed all this. I'm gonna rewatch the episode just to make sure. But like, is it the idea that they tracked the ship, the ship's trajectory, so they kind of have a general idea of where he might be?
Yep,
Is that it?
maybe I just don't know, dude. I couldn't tell you. All I know is that for some reason a map to Admiral Thrawn was in some old ass ruin.
Well, and they
That's all I
obviously
know.
like believe he's still alive and have a reason to believe that.
Yep.
Like, so maybe it all comes together in that way. I need to rewatch this, man, because I'm telling you, they probably explained it, and I was just too tired to pay attention when I was watching.
Yeah.
So there has to be a reason, like, because without it just sounds so stupid. It sounds almost as stupid as "Where is Grand Admiral Thrawn?"
Yeah, exactly. Like it's really yeah, it's dumb. It's just dumb. Like it's the dumbest plot point, probably the whole thing. It's the only major complaint that I have. Everything else is fine. Like, Sabrine dipping out of that frickin' listening to some alien punk rock, dipping out of that award
Oh yeah,
ceremony. I really like that art, that little mural that was back there, because it was like a callback to how they used to look, like, to the animation style.
yeah,
Like it was, and again, like it implied that that was more like it was like I don't know. This made me make me too into reach, but like it's more mature. This story will be more mature in its own special way because you're looking back at the cartoons and moving away from that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. But it's still good to see, and like they even brought back like the voice actor to play the mayor, I believe.
Hmm.
So that was cool. I mean, it's crazy how many like voice actors they're bringing back to play the live action versions. You know, like Thrawn and like the Mayor and stuff. But then like not any of the main characters.
Yeah.
I wonder if we'll see Zeb at all. We saw him like obviously in the Mandalorian.
Hmm.
But I'm
I
curious,
think that was I honestly think that's actually like a that's like a
like a foreshadowing or an Easter egg or
of him being in the show. Yeah, I think that him being animated fully 100%, they're going to be using him in the show all the time.
yeah. Also, the voice actor for Zeb, Steve Blum, also going to be a SAC anime.
Hmm.
So that's cool. Anyway, it's kind
Yep.
of I mean it's kind of related, right?
Yeah. Steve Bloom goes there a lot, though. I think I see him there a lot because I think he lives in California, or so.
Yeah, I mean most of the people that like show up at these conventions, like their agents just like book them and they get paid to go, and then they make a bunch of money off of autographs and photos and
Because they
stuff.
get paid in cash, baby. They walk out with bags of cash.
Bro, they're
Oh, I only
making
made
bank.
5,000. Yeah, they are. No, there's no doubt about that. That's why they keep doing it. Like even during the writer's strike, they're still doing it, and there's a very specific reason. Like it's
Yeah, bro,
yeah,
cause these motherfuckers are charging like $60 plus for an autograph. Like you got 500 people waiting in line to get an autograph. You're making like 30K
yep,
in a day.
yep.
Not to mention all
Single
the
day.
photos that you charge even more for, like
The
$100 a photo.
yeah, the photo ops. That's why there's so many of them there. Like it's tech anime. I feel like because it's just so centrally located for all the nerds in the northern part of California to go to.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be one of the biggest conventions on the West Coast in 10 more years. Who knows?
Well,
We'll
I
see.
think Fanime in San Jose is still always gonna be one of the bigger ones, and like Fan Expo. No, Fanime is the big one, right?
PAX West is really big too.
Yeah, but that's
One
up in
one of those
Seattle, right?
Penny Arcade. It sucks as though there's all these good conventions on because the one convention I do really want to go to eventually is Dragon Con.
That's in
But
Atlanta, right?
yeah, no, yeah, I believe so. So
Yeah,
it's like a really big nerd.
it's
Like all the
huge.
when I start Warhammer
You
40K
can go to
and
that. You have friends in Georgia.
yeah, my closest friend lives in Georgia.
Yeah,
But she doesn't live in the city anymore, so I don't know how much of a drive it would be.
it doesn't. I mean, it's much closer than driving from California. So,
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. So we'll just have to wait and see. And again,
but
like
we have great conventions in California. I mean,
it costs
obviously we have San
costs
Diego
money.
Comic
That's
Con.
the thing. All this stuff costs money. So
Yeah, there's LA Comic Con. There's WonderCon, which is huge. There's D23, which is actually coming up September 9th. So if you get maybe there'll be some Disney announcements there for everybody. Probably not because everything's on hold. But yeah, we have some pretty big conventions obviously here, like mostly in Southern California. But
yeah, especially in LA, the fan anime down there in LA is huge. It's one I think it's like a huge convention, like at least the biggest anime convention probably.
I think the one in San Jose is really big. The Fanime there, but I think there's also there's one in LA as well that's pretty huge. I don't know if it's
Mm.
called Fanime or Fan Expo or whatever it is, but
Comic-Con too. That's always a good one.
yeah, San Diego Comic Con obviously is huge because it's Comic Con International. That's where all the big announcements usually come out. New York Comic Con is one I'd want to go to one day. Dragon Con, of
Mm.
course, is always one of the biggest ones of the year.
I'm sure you
Um,
as a Magic player would appreciate everything you could probably see in Dragon Con for me. I'd be cool to do a drop-in D&D campaign, like just show up with a fifth level character and you just sit at a table and play D&D for like an hour and a half and then like walk away.
yeah,
Or painting Warhammer 40K. They do Apocalypse there. If you don't know what the Apocalypse is, that's when all like the legendary stuff in 40K, like the Warlord Titans and the Emperor class Titans and all the battleships and all the giant tanks and stuff. That's when they come out because those things are like 8,000 points a unit. And they're all incredibly overpowered and everyone's like rolling literal buckets of. It's funny, like people will bring buckets of dice to roll, like
mm,
like 5 gallon buckets of dice to like
that's
roll and stuff.
that's too much dice.
Yeah, because it's a lot of fun. An Apocalypse game is always a lot of fun to be a part of. Um, and so yeah, none of that has to do with Ahsoka. Why are we talking about this? Probably because I just talked offhandedly about going to because we're going to Sec Anime. That's why.
Yeah, yeah, and
What else is
Steve
there to
Blum,
talk about Ahsoka? There's a lot and there's some, but it feels like there's so little to talk about because yeah, they made it. It's good. The plot's going somewhere. They want to find Thrawn. They are using They're doing the star map thing.
yeah.
Despite, but that's really about it. Like, and there's some fight scenes and there's still Inquisitors.
Yeah, I
We
mean
know
the
who.
opening sequence is very good. I mean, it's very
Mm,
classic Star Wars. It's very reminiscent of
Episode 1.
Episode 1. Yeah,
Yep.
where the ship kind of comes in and but it happens to be some bad guys. Ray Stevenson plays a very good Inquisitor or Sith.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're Inquisitors or Sith, but yeah, he's very good. And then his apprentice Shin, she has the glare of death.
Mm.
So, but yeah, it's a very cool opening sequence there, and then unfortunately, for people who don't know, Ray Stevenson, the guy who plays the big burly Sith guy, has passed
Dead, right?
away.
Yeah.
He passed away, before after he filmed the show, obviously, but like it was probably like 2 or 3 months ago he passed away, which is very sad. He's a very good actor, and then they had a little homage to him at the end of the first episode, which just kind of really said like for Ray or whatever. I don't know
Mm.
exactly what it said, but that was very nice to dedicate the episode to him.
Yep.
Yeah, and then his character seems very, almost gray Jedi-ish in a lot of ways. Like his
Yeah.
character is very like, I'm gonna do what's necessary, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'm happy about it. And you'll get more of that, I think, in episode 3, where like he mentioned something about like Ahsoka. So there's a little bit there just about like him valuing the lives of Jedi.
I guess I'll just watch episode 3 tonight then.
Yeah, just watch it. Just watch it. It's good.
Yeah,
It's
I will.
short. It's short.
Yeah, I will.
I watched it while taking a shit yesterday.
Nice.
I mean,
Everything our viewers want to know more.
I wasn't shitting the whole time, but like I was like, well, I might be here a while, depending, So I'll start it anyway. Yeah, hey, it is what it is, man. So you got, I watched the best episodes of Andor while taking a shit, like it just happened. Like I was like, wow, this is very good, and then I kind of just forget that I'm taking a shit, and then
Oh, wow, you're just sitting on the toilet, just doing it.
yeah,
Wow,
phones in,
that's
just it's
very, very intense.
personal time, what I'm saying? It's just
Yeah. No, I've done. I get that. Personal time in the bathroom.
you know.
Been there. I've been there before. Like where I said back when my parents used to own like a shitty little trawling big boat, like a big diesel boat that would drag out to the water to park on for a few days.
Yeah.
When I really needed a break, I would just go sit in the bathroom playing my Game Boy because everyone was so jam packed together.
Yeah. Gotta get away.
Yeah.
Gotta get out of there sometimes,
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah. But it's also because it was like, so it's like yesterday is a significant day for me because it's like marks 5 years since I started dating my wife originally.
Yep.
And so, we were like celebrating, like we like went to dinner and stuff. And then after dinner, I had to take a shit. And I was like, well, this would be my only opportunity to watch Ahsoka without seeming rude or like whatever. So, I
Yep.
watched it while doing that. And then she's like, well, would you be upset if I like did some work because I'm behind? And I was like, oh yeah, no worries. No problem. Yeah. That's cool. I'm not, I'll just watch Ahsoka. Chill. Yeah. So all good. But yeah, there's not much else to say about those first 2 episodes other than like they're pretty good. They accomplish what they need to, and
Yep.
our favorite phrase: wait and see.
I'll wait and see, and hopefully, in a few weeks' time, we'll be talking about how great it all comes together and how it's an amazing show. And yeah, I would love it.
Yeah, but I don't get the outrage at all. Like
No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen any outrage. Like it's weird. Now it seems like that the response to the outrage is more loud than the outrage itself, where everyone's like telling them to shut the fuck up. Like I feel like people are really starting to get tired of angry nerds on the internet, and that's why I feel like the angry nerds are getting increasingly more unhinged as of late because actually really getting boxed in by people after a while, for once.
oh yeah, I
So
mean, but like the saying is don't feed the trolls, and it's a good saying. It's a good saying. Like if you don't respond to them, you just ignore them. Eventually, they'll just go away.
yeah,
Like these people thrive off of the like attention that you give them. Like it's not just like, oh well, who's gonna be happy about being told to shut up and like all this stuff, bro. That all attention to them is good attention. Like they clearly are lacking something in their life and need that chaos and dysfunctionality
yep,
to feel
alive.
legitimized or validated. I don't know. But
Yep.
yeah, that's why I don't even respond to them.
Yeah.
I just use their points as talking points on my podcast to say, what an idiot.
And respond to their comments. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
What else can we talk about? Cage. What else is going on? Congratulations for you and your wife, by the way. I'm very happy you guys are celebrating your 5-year anniversary.
well,
By the way, just putting this out there, this dude goes out with his wife every Saturday to a farmer's market so she can sell wax melts, and he's there all the time because he's supporting his wife because he's a really nice person. So just be
yeah,
proud of yourself. That's a really good thing to do for your partner.
I'm not just a passive passenger. Okay, I drive. I set up.
Yeah, we
tent.
assume you being there is assuming that you're helping. Yeah, I make that assumption, but I think everybody else knows.
my wife is like, she says like she needs me there and stuff. I'm like, yo, I saw like an 80-year-old lady set up her entire ship by herself. Like you could do it by yourself if you wanted to, but I'm happy to help her and like support her and everything, and it's cool. And yeah, if you guys are in the Sacramento area, not every Saturday, but a lot of Saturdays, we'll be at the Folsom Farmers Market. So
there you go.
It's in historic Folsom out here. So if you're around, you can come visit and spend money because that's cool or something. But yeah,
except for this Saturday because we'll be at a convention.
Yeah,
so.
not this. Yeah, and she's gonna work on her inventory and stuff this weekend, so she won't be there either.
Yep.
So, but the following weekend on the 9th, she'll be there, and then not again until I don't know when, because we have a big event on the 16th. It's an event through my work. Yeah, I have to go to a gala, a charity event to and dress nice and raise money for charity. So
there you go.
Yeah. Yep. But it's cool. I mean, they pay for me to stay in a nice hotel, and
yeah, that's always the best. It's always the best.
And there's the last year, and apparently other years before, there was a candy bar, not like one bar, like literally it's just like a big ass table and just like a bunch of like king size candy bars, like just lining the table, and you can grab a bag and just grab as much as you want.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, so it's cool. And then they feed you, and surprisingly the food isn't that bad. Like I'm very picky, and they don't destroy like the last time they served like salmon and steak, and they don't destroy it. They don't ruin the salmon with a bunch of drizzly sauces and disgusting shit. Like it's just a nice well cooked piece of salmon and a nice decently cooked piece of steak that's not over like seasoned or destroyed with again sauces and all kinds of bullshit. So. And then all the vegetables are just on the side, so I can give them to someone else or ignore them, which is great.
Yep.
So always appreciate that. Like I don't want my shit drowning in tomatoes and shit. Like just give me my meat and get the rest of this shit out of here. Anyway, but yeah, so this weekend, yeah, it's just Sac Anime, and that'll be a good time. Be a good time. So, and if anybody who's listening, which is probably a total of 0 people, sees us at Sac Anime, come say hello. Hello, this is what I look like. So you can come say hello.
And you don't know what I look like, but you recognize my voice and unhinged way of living. So, yeah.
You'll probably see him and say, "That's exactly how I imagined you to look."
Yep.
So. But yeah, that'll be a good time. And other than that, yeah, there's not much else to say. Ahsoka, enjoyable. And hopefully it continues to be, and it gets better and better and better, and then it'll end, and then we'll be sad. Do you think Ahsoka is building towards or needs a season 2?
I don't know.
I feel like a lot of times, like these shows, like they come out, they're good, and then like they kind of overstay their welcome. Like, and I don't know. I mean, it would suck to say The Mandalorian is like that, but like, it has progressively gotten worse.
Yeah.
And I actually quite enjoyed most of season 2, but I feel like season 3, like, I enjoyed it still, but it wasn't anywhere near the quality of the first season.
Yeah, I feel like it was just leading up to them being on Mandalore. That was it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way about the MCU shows. I feel like most of those should only be one season, and they should just be bridging the gaps again between like the films. But this rumor just came out, and it's being picked up by everybody, that apparently She-Hulk season 2 is in development. Which is very odd, especially with Bob Iger's comments about how the Marvel Disney Plus shows have like ruined the box office for Marvel movies, and like, this is like the most universally panned Disney Plus Marvel show, and it seemed like it was built towards something with like World War Hulk or something for a movie, and it's odd to see that it might be getting a season 2 again. We're not haters. I mean, you quite enjoyed She-Hulk, right? And I didn't hate it. Like I thought it was fine. I enjoyed most of it. You're only
I enjoyed the legal
fourth wall,
aspects of
right?
it. I enjoyed the legal aspects of it, but that's because I'm, special compared to other people where I just know about the, I just know about that stuff. So, um,
Yeah,
and so fighting from the fourth wall break, and the reason I don't like the fourth wall break is because that makes everything kind of not serious. Like it kind of eliminates the whole purpose of the show.
well, I think the twerking bit made the show not serious, but
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, I think the show is supposed to be not serious as like, uh, you know.
yeah, but I get what you're saying. Like it doesn't. It makes the show less compatible in the world it's in.
Hmm.
Like it turns a show from being like something that easily can be integrated through the rest of the MCU to being something that like stands so significantly on one side that it's like almost a parody,
Hmm.
instead of like something that like is cohesive. And like
Yeah.
sure, there's fourth wall breaks in Deadpool, but like not to this extent. Not to like climbing out of the screen onto the user interface of Disney Plus, Like that's a little
Yeah,
far.
I'm just looking at episode 3 review for Ahsoka, and they got one title here. It says Disney nukes Star Wars in epic farce, and it's
What?
like, yeah, dude, I don't know, man.
Bro, episode 3 is
Yeah,
like one of the most Star Wars episodes I've ever seen.
I gotta wait and see what my Lord and Savior Angry Joe thinks first, and then I'll let you know my opinion. No, I'm just kidding. So I do watch the shows because they help me, like, I don't know. It's just fun to watch, see what other people's opinions are, and then compare it to your own and like contrast it. So that's always always a fun thing to do. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm probably in my own ways, like, yeah, he does modify my own opinion in like his own very specific way, but
Well, that's
it is.
okay. Like like when you listen to how other people feel about something or their takeaways, right? Like you put that into your prism and your perspective, and you go, I didn't think about that, but it makes sense. So that'll alter a little bit. Or you go, that's utterly ridiculous. It makes no sense to me, and you'll not change your opinion, right? And there will be
Yep.
elements of those things, and where you'll think both of those things throughout different things that people say, like even if it's the same person. So yeah, people think like, oh, if you listen to one person's opinion and you change your mind, oh, you're a sheep and you're easily swayed and you don't have any convictions or blah blah blah. And it's like, I mean, it just makes you open minded and like, understanding that you don't know everything and someone else's perspective may open your eyes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like content like that and like this wouldn't exist, like because people wouldn't be interested. Like if we're all closed minded and think we all know everything, why would we ever care what anybody else thinks about anything?
Mm.
It just doesn't make any sense. So, but yeah, I mean, and I implore it for everything. Listen to people you disagree with. Listen to people you agree with. It's important. Like,
Yep. Get a good diet of information to stay out, keep your brain healthy.
yeah. But anyway, we've wasted enough time. We appreciate everybody who watches on Twitch, watches on YouTube, listens through any of the podcast platforms. We're on all of them pretty much. We appreciate if you like, comment, subscribe, share, rate, review, click all the buttons,
Donate.
do all the things.
Give us your money.
I mean, yeah, I don't really advertise that. I don't even think I have anything set up for you to donate.
Give us $300 million. Do it. Don't you love us? Come on.
Yeah, show your love by monetarily supporting us. Just kidding. You just listen, and eventually, if we get enough people to listen, then that can be monetized easily without you having to spend a single penny out of your pocket, which is my preference. But if you want to spend pennies out of your pocket, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't think there's anything set up for that. I could set up PayPal through Twitch, but I don't think I have it set up. So But anyway, much love, everybody.
Anyway.
No high rises in our future anytime soon. But we appreciate you. Hope you have a great rest of your day, evening, night, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.